to try this. For breakfast, I had a shake, and for lunch, I smelled an avocado, and for supper, I breathed in deeply 3 times. 75 pounds!
Man, everybody's got a diet ad. What you gonna do? Shalom, I'm the Messianic Torah dude, and this week's Torah portion is Shimini.
Let's go down when we hit the stage. The harder that the crowd begins to race. The people in the chairs all take a stand. We're rocking and rolling for the son of man. Rocking and rolling, yeah, yeah.
Shimini comes to us from Leviticus chapter 9, verse 1 through chapter 11, verse 47. And this week's Torah portion focuses a lot on the dietary laws. Of the 3 chapters that make up this week's Torah portion, an entire chapter is devoted specifically to the laws of kashrut or kosher. That got me wondering about what the Lord's diet is and how we eat to honor the Lord. So in Leviticus chapter 11, verses 1 through 3, it says, "And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying to them, Speak to the people of Israel, saying, These are the living things that you may eat, among all the animals that are on the earth. Whatever parts the hoof and is cloven-footed, and chews the cud, among the animals you may eat." Now, of course, it goes on to describe what kind of fish can be eaten, and specifically lists certain animals that are acceptable as food. But it's interesting to me that such a major part of this week's Torah portion focuses on what is and is not acceptable to eat. And I think it's such a big deal, not because it's a major thing, but because it is such a minor thing. It's a tiny, common, everyday thing. I mean, when you think about eating, that's something you do 3 times a day, or if you're like most people, you do it 3 times a day and then you're snacking throughout the day. But it's something that is common. It's something that's constant. It's something that you will always be doing. You may not be preparing a sacrifice. You may not be preparing for one of the feasts, but you will always be eating. In the in-between times, in the good times, in the bad times, you'll always be eating. And when we talk about serving the Lord, it needs to be not just in these big, grand things that only come around once in a while, but also in our regular things, our regular daily things. So that's why I think these laws of kosher are so important, because it reminds us that serving the Lord is a constant, daily, hourly, in and out thing, but also that it goes from the big things to the little things. In 2 Kings chapter 5, there's a general named Naaman, and this general is diagnosed with leprosy. So he goes to the prophet Elisha for healing. And the prophet Elisha tells him, "Dunk yourself in the Jordan River 7 times and you'll be cleansed." And the general hears that and he's like, why does he want me to dunk myself, submerge myself in this river 7 times? Well, one of the servants of the general says, look, if he had asked you to climb the highest mountain, if he had asked you to cross the desert, if he had asked you to do some great, grand, massive thing, you would do it. So why is it so hard for you to do such a little, such a tiny thing? And of course, Naaman immersed himself 7 times in the Jordan River, and when he came up the 7th time, he was purified. There was no leprosy. And doing those little things is so important. There's an old country song, and the chorus goes, "Buy me a rose, call me from work." It's essentially a wife who is frustrated with her husband. He spends 8 hours a day, or he's spending, 10, 12 hours a day at work so that he can provide her with a good home and provide her with all of the fancy things that she wants. And what she really wants is all of those little things, buying her flowers every now and then, opening a door for her. Our relationship with the Lord, sometimes we think, well, I just need to do the big things. And we forget to leave in the little things. In Mark chapter 7, verses 14 through 23, Yeshua tells us this. He said, "Hear me, all of you, and understand. There is nothing outside a person that going into him can defile him, but the things that come out of a person are what defile him." And when he had entered the house and left the people, his disciples asked him about the parable, and he said to them, "Then are you also without understanding? Do you not see that whatever goes into a person from the outside cannot defile him, since it enters not into his heart, but his stomach, and is expelled?" Thus he declared all foods clean. And he said, "What comes out of a person is what defiles him. For from within, out of the heart of man, come evil thoughts, sexual immorality, theft, murder, adultery, coveting, wickedness, deceit, sensuality, envy, slander, pride, foolishness. All these evil things come from within, and they defile a person." You see, here Yeshua is saying that one of the things that we take away from these rules of kosher is not necessarily that it's about keeping ourselves from being defiled by what comes into us. It's about eating in a way that honors the Lord. It's about saying, "Lord, from the big things I do to the little mundane, tiny things I do, I am going to seek to honor you." We don't keep kosher because the Lord is going to reach down with a heavenly fly swatter and smack us. We don't keep kosher because it's going to make us unacceptable before the Lord. We keep kosher because doing so pleases the Lord. We do so because we live our lives seeking to please the Lord. In Mark chapter 12, verses 28 through 30, one of the scribes, one of the experts in Torah, comes up to Yeshua and said, "Which commandment is the most important of all?" And Yeshua answered, "The most important is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is one, and you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength." We are called to love the Lord with everything that we are and with everything that we do, even something as small as what we snack on. So what are some other small things in our life that we can do to honor the Lord? Let me know in the comments, and if we gave you a laugh, give us a like, and if you learned something, give us a share. I'm the Messianic Torah Dude. Shalom, and stay in the Word.